Talofa and welcome to Pacific Talk Podcast, the Self-Advocate Series, brought to you by the Pacific Center in Human Security at the American Samoa Community College. Pacific Talk highlights the voices, experiences, and perspectives of individuals in our community through meaningful conversations and storytelling. I'm your host, Mercy Aperaamo,
I'm your co-host, Val Tuilefano.
and today we are joined by our wonderful guests, Tala and Ligi Afalava-Danielson from the American Samoa Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin, we'd like to invite our guests to share a little bit more about themselves, including their name, again, their roles, their department, and the work they do within their organization.
Okay, thank you. Faftaimolevanoa, Talofa, and good morning. My name is Ligi Afalava-Danielson. I am one of the counselors at the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation in American Samoa. I am also in the basic program. This is one of the program in the main office, or it is the backbone of vocational rehabilitation. Thank you.
Thank you. Talofa, my name is Tala. I'm also one of the counselor at the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. And basically that's an introduction for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about what you do at OVR. In case you didn't know, OVR is the shortened term for Vocational Rehabilitation Office. But we're just gonna head straight into our questions for the day, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
So to start off, can you what does self-advocacy mean to you, and why is it important for individuals with disabilities?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. What does self-advocacy means to me? Self-advocate, it speaks up. You speak up for yourself and speaks up for themselves, communicates, and be active. Be actively represent in their own opinion. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is, as when I started at OVR, working, communicating, that is the number one key for me with people with disabilities. And meeting them for the first time, I came along with some of them that they spoke up for themselves. There's nothing wrong with them. They just want you. They just want you to hear them of what they're going through, of what they face every day, and especially being looked down, and I think that's
Just to add on what Lini states in regards to self-advocacy, as a counselor, working as a counselor here at the OVR for almost 3 years now, I understand that advocating for disability has been one of the challenges that I see that people with disability face, and not only in our office but also in community-wise. So our office is my understanding is to empower our clients to advocate with their rights on with the because our program is based on finding employment and seeking employment for those who are disabled physically or mentally. So advocating for them is kind of it's a challenge for us, especially when we went out there to employers seeking employment for them. So most of the employers that we talk to have no understanding or no what you call understanding of what disabled individuals can bring on the table when it comes to finding employment or seeking career. So advocating for them is what we tried within OVR to successfully finding jobs for these individuals. So advocating for disabled individuals is something that I really wanted to pursue well in this career as far as working as a counselor. Thank you.
Sounds like you guys are doing some pretty good jobs over there at OVR. So you
Tried
come
our
across.
We are trying
So,
our best.
yeah, it's good to hear. So it seems like you've come across individuals with disabilities who already know how to self-advocate for themselves, and that's very empowering to hear because some of us we're new to this whole self-advocating thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really encouraging to hear that there are others out there in the community who are doing their part and who aren't afraid to speak out about
Yes.
their
Yes.
concerns and about what other violations of rights that they may be facing. So thank you so much for touching a little bit more about that. I'll hand off the mic to Val, my co-host, to see what other questions he has to bring up for you today.
Well, thank you, Lini. Thank you, Tasi, for your response. I wanted to go Tala. Sorry about that, Tala. So, you know, I want to bring up the question again. You know, these are challenges that you had pointed out with encouraging those that come in for your services, seeking advice on self, be part of the self advocacy. Um, so let's say they are they're on the path of their educational goals, their employment, and the independent living. So the question I wanted to add on to that are, what are some examples of the roadblocks? What are some things that will keep them from getting their educational goals? And that, like for instance, let's say they reach it, then the next step, of course, is trying to find a job and then finding a place to live. What are some of the challenges in those steps that you see that you've been dealing with those seeking your services at the OVR?
Okay, from my experience as a counselor, when going out there to find jobs with our employers and our community, the challenge that I basically faced is the fact that some of them do not have an understanding of what disabled individuals can bring on the table. For example, if they have a job opening where we find that one of our clients is, suitable for the job, but once we mention the word disabled on the table, it just flipped them off, as in they don't accept it, or they feel like it's not, suitable for the job that they have on hand. And what the other challenges that we find is the word disabled. Because once we mention that word to the employers, some of them don't feel like they don't want to hire individual with disability. And that's a challenge that we're facing right now.
Okay, to add on from Ms. Tala is, what are some challenges people with disabilities face when reaching education and employment? The challenges or the challenge that I see or has faced with our clients is transitioning from high school to college or transition after high school to employment. And as Tala mentioned, that we also do job search. So we have a process. I know every office has a process, and we have a process that we have to follow. So once we go out there to do our job search, that's where one of the challenges picked up from to us is like, as she mentioned, the word disabled, and we are trying to move away from that word and trying to mention as we introduce ourselves to the offices or any departments that we're looking for job search for our clients is we have physical and mental impairment clients to seek employment, and there are also unique people. They are smart people, very kind people too, and they have different interested of what employment they want to work at.
Yeah.
And another thing is transportation for them. Yes, transportation for them is another challenge that I see that we have experienced with some of our clients. And then we connected with Tala Ride. Thank you for the Department of Public Works. So yeah, so those are other challenges that we have experienced with our clients.
Tala, you brought up the issue of how employers tend to sort of shut down when they hear the word disabled being brought up. I'm sure you guys had a lot of experiences of that with the clients that you had. Are there any success stories of how you were able to get through to those employers to sort of convince them?
Yes, we do have several employers who have employed previous clients,
Yeah.
which they're still employing them at the moment. But some, like I would say the new employers who have not heard of employing disabled individuals
Yeah.
are the ones who are shutting down some of our. But that doesn't discourage us from going out there and still finding jobs for other possible candidates who are willing to take the jobs. But yeah, there are some employers and successful stories that we have previously. Yeah.
So sorry again, because I'm curious.
No
Because I
worries.
know I'm not as knowledgeable on the ADA as I wish to be,
Mhm.
but I know it says in the law that you can't turn away any candidate
Yes.
based on disability, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever touched upon that with those employers in the past when they would turn down candidates because of
Not necessarily
Oh.
with the ADA rights,
Yeah.
but we tend to voice it to our leaders
Yeah.
because of that. Because yeah, we do have an understanding of the ADA rights of turning down the jobs because of disabled
Yeah.
individual. So
Wow.
that is something we like to encourage
Yeah.
our staff and of course our leaders to, advocate more
Yeah.
on our disabled side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to add, thank you for your responses. To Mercy's question, again, when we speak of ADA, we're talking about the American Disability Act.
Yeah.
And that is something that we all are learning. And Mercy, if I can just maybe divert a little bit
Yeah,
so
go
we
ahead.
could kind of cover
Mhm.
the Center of Independent Living that we
Yeah,
are
sure.
actually representing, with, using this PCH
TCH's platform.
Peaches
Yes.
platform
Yeah, go ahead.
with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. So, Mercy, can you kind of share a little bit about our
The center.
the center, and then, but before you do that, I'll go ahead and again reintroduce myself as Val Tuilefano, and my role at the center is a volunteer, and as a caregiver, I bring that to the table in terms of how I would, assist someone who happened to be disabled or have a disability getting into school.
Mhm.
I'm sure you're familiar with was it ILP? What's the
For
the
from our
individual
office.
learning? Yeah,
Oh,
for schools that go in. So
IEP? Are you talking about?
yeah,
Oh,
Oh, the IEP.
IEP,
The
individual.
Plan of
employment.
employment.
Yes,
Or
Yeah.
that's the
education.
IPE.
Yeah, there you go.
IEP for
So for conversational or for dialogue sake, though, is because it moves right into the next question is, what advice would you give to someone who is learning how to speak up for themselves? And then with Mercy, again, kind of sharing a little bit about this new program, the Independent Living Center.
So yeah, we're a newly formed program, and I know I've heard a little bit now about OVR, and I would say we're very similar in many ways, in that we just try and help individuals with disabilities be as independent as possible,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So in terms of finding employment, speaking up for their rights, trying to be integrated into the community, knowing how to advocate for themselves, educating them on what rights they have that are protected under the law. And yeah, I think here at the center, basically what we're just trying to do is to teach others how to stand up for themselves, that they have all the right to do so if they feel that they're not being treated fairly or equally just because they have a certain condition or they look a bit different from everyone else, right? So yeah, if going off
Yeah.
of what Val is asking, what what's some advice you would give to people with disabilities who are trying to self-advocate, who are trying to advocate not only for themselves but for others like them?
And if I can again add to the question, maybe help, maybe so I can maybe simplify it a little more, is to maybe speak specifics. So when we talk about disability, let's say someone that is wheelchair bound, looking for employment after school. Let's say they reached the goal, and now you're connecting with, you're helping them connect with different employers, and letting them know ahead of time that it's someone that's in a wheelchair, and if, of course, you're going to help them make sure that that place that is accessible, and that it's something that will be a fit for them. So that's, I guess, my question, though. As an example, maybe run us through how you would help that particular individual.
Like advocating for themselves.
Yeah, for that particular person that's in a wheelchair that's trying to get a job.
Okay. So OVR, we do, under the Basic 110 program, we do have a process. Starts from the application and then go through the doctor's examination. So the process, once you're determined eligible under the program, and then the process starts where we have to guide you on what we call the individual plan for employment. So the individual plan of employment is where all the services listed from our office to help you or the client reach that goal, vocational goal, to be specific. So for a client who is wheelchair bound, and let's say this client wants to become a clerical kind of person in an office or a business, so we try to match their interest and abilities on how to do the job on the kind of job that they're seeking, because we cannot just go out there and seek the job without knowing what this client has interest in. So our determination and our evaluation is based on the person's abilities and their interest of the kind of job they wanted to pursue. So if this person is on a wheelchair bound, and we see that he has or she has a what you call degree in typing and basic stuff on how to use computer and stuff. Yeah, so we try to match their abilities and their skills on the job that is opening. So if they pass the interview, depending on the employer, if they wanted to employ them, then that's where we can negotiate with the employer to have that client start the OJT. So OJT, or on the job training, is where we OVR and the employer will negotiate and observe this client if she can perform the job or not.
Yeah.
So on that process, once the 3 months training or through the 6 months training is passed, it's where we communicate together with the employer if she can keep the job or not. So that's basically how the job search and how our process works. But it really varies on different kind of clients. Like you said, if the person is wheelchair bound, we also have to look into the ADA access for the clients, if the place is accessible and stuff like that. I
Thank you.
hope that answered your question.
Well, moving on. Sorry about that. So another question. It was actually brought in by one of our self-advocates here at the center. He was very curious to know how families and schools can better support youth with disabilities transitioning into adulthood. Like, how can they work together with you on that to make that transition more smoother? Because I know it can be hard for for individuals, especially students, because they have the SPED program to really sort of guide them along when they're in school, but then after that it can be a bit harder for them to adjust, because then they're just like
Be independent.
thrusted into learning how trying to be independent.
Yes. And that is something we see a lot in our office, where most parents try to speak up for their children
Yeah.
or their family members, and we encourage the disabled individual to also speak up for them, because yes, there's no wrong in family members or relatives to speak up for them, but sometimes individuals with disability have their own needs and interests that they wanted to share and they wanted to express or show the us, but it's like a roadblock from their families because the parents or the relative see that this person cannot do that because of the impairments they had. But we encourage our clients, disabled clients, to give them the chance, because you never know what they can bring to the table. So there's nothing wrong with the families and relatives to help out, but we strongly encourage our clients to bring what they can.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm really happy to see if our clients is able to stand up for themselves instead of having others to talk what they wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the center has some success stories or a victory. We believe that we are moving in steps. So one that we wanted to share was being able to work with the community through our local theater, Regal, and we were able to provide
A mobile ramp.
ramp,
Yeah.
and that allowed one of
Yeah.
Awesome.
our
I think it was one of our advocates, Alofa. I think that was his first time going to the movies, and it was finally made possible because we finally had a ramp now. So yeah, it's a
So
success.
those are
stories like
one
that,
of the
yeah.
things that we've
Awesome.
been working here at the center, amongst other areas, part of the mission, and the goal is to work together as partners and knowing more about how we can work with OVR and what services you provide. We can maybe kind of find areas where we can focus on as well. So the question that I put back to you is, maybe do you have another success story that you wanted to share? People that came in. I know that we talked a little bit about it earlier, but I'm sure maybe one success story that you were able to share with us, walking someone through school or through employment.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose the information because of confidentiality within our office. But I would just say that we do have clients who are successfully employed
Right now.
through our program, Basic 110. And I also like to share that we also have our Independent Living Center, which that's another program within our office. So we do have, all I can say is that we do have successful story in terms of providing them with employments, but I'll just say where they work at right now. So we have one that's currently working at the Paradise Pizza, so that's
Great.
yeah. That's the recent one, but we have more. So yeah.
I just wanted to touch back on what you were mentioning about how when families and parents would bring their kids in to look for, to
Find employment.
find employment and use your services. I know you said that sometimes parents kind of sort of take over the conversation. And I think that's another misconception, right? That individuals with disabilities face, is that just because they're disabled, it means that they can't speak up for
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, what are some other misconceptions about individuals with disabilities that you wish more people understood or, try to break? Like, what are some misunderstandings that you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that the parents think that their children cannot do or perform what they think they can do. But I will strongly encourage the parents or the relatives to give them a chance, because you never know what they can offer.
Yeah.
So because we basically deal with employment, we wanted our clients to be independent and to self-advocate for what they can provide, not only for the business or the community, but for them as well. And And like we always tell the parents, "Ele mafuta ke tato mo tato whanau." So it's important for them to, live independently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To allow them to spread their wings a bit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was just thinking, speaking from experience, to add on from what Tala has talked about. Yes, we have faced. To me, this is the main misconception that we faced. Not daily, but maybe monthly or every other month that we see. I know the parents are trying to help their children to seek employment, but at the same time, we want to hear from the clients. We want to hear from the clients. And speaking of, we're trying to do that one room with the parents and another time with our client, so that way we can hear what that client wants and what he or she wants to seek. So yeah, that is, to me, I think that's the main misconception that we have faced.
okay. Well, before we close, what would you like listeners to know about the American Samoa Vocational Rehabilitation Office and supporting self advocates in our community?
um, what we what would you like to listen to know about? Okay, thank you. When I started working at vocational rehabilitation, and when old clients from the past years, the previous years, stopped by to our office, asking us about this, and telling us about they have this and they have this. But as we try to explain to them the real purpose of the program, and thank you to the leaders that trying to change that, trying to um, get away from when people come in, you get it right there. But there's a process from it. There's a process that we have to follow. And also, it's not who you know, it's we go steps by steps. We also have numbers for our clients, and we have limited sources, but our leaders in our office are trying to do more outreach. We go out there to let the public know that there's Office of Vocational Rehabilitation in American Samoa, and we're here. We hear our clients. Not only we also deal with severe people with severe disabilities, and not only us, we also connect with other departments, other agencies in our island. And for our clients or for whoever's listening out there, our office is located in Fanga'alu. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We're not going to judge you when you come to our office. We will serve you with a happy face. We are happy to communicate with you, and that is the number one key for us is communication. As I know that everyone in our island is advocating with. Thank you.
Just to add on what Lini has just stated about what we would like our listeners to know about Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, we would like to state that our mission is to create pathways to those who are disabled physically or mentally to find jobs and to seek employment for those who are disabled within our community. So don't discourage yourself to come to our office, but our office is open to anyone who are disabled physically or mentally to come in and grab the application, ask us questions, and feel free to sit down and talk to us and see what we can offer to help you find employment in our community. Thank you.
Yes. Our phone number is 684-633-1371. That is 684-633-1371. We are open from Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4 p.m. and closed on holidays and weekends. Thank you.
And our location is in Fanga'alu, the two-story building, first floor, across the Tamo Chain store, going in the hospital. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the Pacific Center and Human Security, Mercy, and myself, thank you for being here, Tala and Ligi, for providing the valuable information on the services of Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, and we look forward to continuing the partnership and being to get the word out. So I'm glad. Thank you for allowing us to host. So Mercy and I could continue to reach out in our own capacity as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us too, and looking forward to work with you and other organizations out there.
Thank you for listening to Pacific Talk Podcast Self-Advocate Series. To learn more about the Pacific Center in Human Security and the work we do, visit our website at pchs.amsamoa.edu and follow the Pacific Center in Human Security on Facebook. We also encourage you to follow the American Samoa Center for Independent Living on Facebook to stay connected with disability advocacy, resources, and community events. Until next time, thank you for joining us as we continue to amplify self-advocate voices and strengthen inclusion throughout American Samoa. Soifua maia manuia.